Hey, this is Dawn with Metal Wani, also known as Mama Love, and I'm speaking with the legendary Dee Snider. Thanks so much for taking the time to talk to us today.
Good to talk to you.
Cool, thanks. So I wanted to start out by giving you the praise you so richly deserve for being able to stay relevant in this crazy, messed up world we currently live in. You're certainly not just another washed-up 80s throwback coming out of the woodwork to relive their glory days, which is a nice turnaround for the current times.
Well, thank you. That's a very nice compliment and hard fought, I might add.
Cool. Is there anything specific to which you can attribute your uncanny staying power within the music industry?
I've been asked this many times, and it's not as glorious an answer as people might expect, but I think it is a worthy answer. It's 10% inspiration and 90% desperation. And that's not a joke. When the bottom fell out in the 90s, grunge came in and they found a cure for what I was doing, what we were all doing. I was married, 3 kids, and no income, no prospects, no job prospects, like I said, everything that I studied and perfected as an art was gone. And so I started desperately looking around to find other things that I could do. And in the process, over the decades, I reestablished myself, but I also wound up rebranding myself, through radio, television, movies. I've been on Broadway. I've written screenplays. I've done a lot of different things. So, but it really wasn't any sort of grand plan, like, oh yes, I'm going to stay relevant. It was just like, I'm not ready to die, and I got to take care of this family. So what are you going to do, boy? And so I got out and did it.
Right. So your new album, For the Love of Metal, is slated to release at the end of July. How excited are you for it to finally hit?
Incredibly excited. This is a totally unexpected chapter in my life. I really was sort of mentally thought I was done recording, and I didn't think there was a place for me in a contemporary metal scene. But Jamie Josta, God love him, disagreed with that. And so did members of Toxic Holocaust, Lamb of God, Killswitch Engage, Disturbed, Elisa White Glues from Arch Enemy, Howard Jones. So did all these people who joined the party and said, "Oh hell no, your voice is iconic, and we're ready to help you create a contemporary rock record that speaks to your old audience, but also speaks to a new audience." So, we went in, we started recording. We had no recording budget. We had no record deals. It was just, title of the album's For the Love of Metal for a reason, because it was pure inspiration and pure love that everybody went in working on this thing. And as it sort of takes shape, reactions have been so strong. And as more and more people are hearing it, there's a lot of stunned people and blown away people. And I'm getting really just incredible reactions, and it looks like there may be a place for Dee Snider in the contemporary metal scene.
Right. Oh, I knew that the idea for the album stemmed from Jamie Josta, and it originated on this podcast and then ballooned into this epic collaboration between you and all these other people. Was that difficult to put together logistically?
Yes, certainly. That's just purely, when you can throw money at problems, it fixes everything. But when you have no money, you're at the mercy of everybody's schedule, the mercy of their availability, studio time you can get, and we were, trying to, like I said, working with money in our own pockets. We're just trying to get something happening and something done. So there was a logistical element, but the enthusiasm compensated for all that.
Right.
Because when people want to do something, they make the time. You know what I mean? And everybody who participated in the album and contributed to the album, they wanted to be involved. So, we had to work around their schedules, but they wanted to do it, so somehow they figured out where it could happen, and we figured out where it could happen.
All right. Were all the songs on the album written by outside sources?
Every song was written by Jamie and outside sources. Yeah, it was one of the first things I said when Jamie challenged me. I said, "Who's writing?" Because I'm not. I said, I studied. It's like I studied writing classical music, and I don't know how to write this kind of music. I studied when I write, it comes out 80s style. So it's because it's what I know. And I even though I love contemporary metal and I'm a fan, my children have kept me educated and aware of a lot of bands. I'm friends with tons of the bands, and I enjoy them. I just still don't understand them. But also, it's not a matter of understanding. I feel like when I was with Twisted, I was leading a movement, and I very clearly, if I write and I try to imitate, that's what I'm doing. I'm not, what I mean? I'm imitating somebody else. It's not from the heart. So I needed outside writers. I said, Jamie, who's going to write? And he literally said to me, everybody will want to write for Dee Snider. And once we started the project, the podcast came out, he got bombarded. He said just hundreds of submissions that he had to sort through and see what worked and what wouldn't work. Yeah, but it was just exactly as he said, everybody's going to want to write for Dee Snider, which was pretty cool, very flattering.
Yeah. Did you have any personal input musically or lyrically into any of the songs?
Well, I mean, certainly I was, when you are singing the songs and you're working on the songs, and there's Dee Snider is all over there, but nothing that I would say, hey, I need writing credit for that. Right. I made that suggestion or I made that change. To me, that's just that's part of arranging and creating. But I didn't feel that I was adding something so significant to warrant saying I want writing credit. I mean, the fact that the album's called Dee Snider and the songs are all now going to be Dee Snider songs for forever. That's credit enough right there.
Right.
For what I put in.
Cool. Was, other than just being a heavy album in general, was there any particular musical direction you wanted to take?
This was Jasta. I called him my Sherpa. I said, I got it. And I said, my thanks to him. I said, thanks, Jamie Sherpa Jasta, my Sherpa guide leading me on the path of contemporary heavy metal, because he's actually getting more work as a producer already from this record before it's even been released. Industry people, we had a bidding war going on amongst the metal companies. People were blown away because he really, he channeled me. He wanted me to be able to sing all the songs and feel like they were my own, which I do lyrically on every level. It's like I'm speaking them. It's fit me so well. But also he wanted the contemporary audience to discover, rediscover, or welcome Dee Snider. But he also didn't want to turn off the old fans. And make them feel like they don't get it at all. Right. So, but a lot of that, just having my voice on there and me singing the way I sing, connects with the older fans. As a matter of fact, there was a couple of times in the studio where I started to do Jamie Jasta on this, and Jamie literally stopped and goes, "Wait a second." He goes, "No. You did it really good, Dave. You can scream. You can just scream with the best of us." He says, "But that's not Dee Snider." Right. He says, "Be Dee Snider." He says, "Yeah, we want a new record, but you don't have to sing like, you don't have to sing like Max Cavalera from Sepultura and Soulfly to be that. You can still sing like Dee Snider and fit." Right. So Jamie just really was creating a well balanced record that would have a broad metal appeal, as long as you like it heavy, because there's no real pop metal on there. There's an anthem called American Made, which I think is my new one. I'm going to take it. but it's, and there's there's a sort of a ballad with me and Elisa Like Lose, which I think is a Close My Eyes Forever for this generation.
Right.
It's an anti-bullying song. So there are moments, but there's no true, there's no happy metal on there, for lack of a better word. We're all smiling and having fun. That's not there.
Okay. Well, you said that you had hundreds of submissions for the album. Was there any material submitted? Obviously, there was probably material submitted that wasn't included.
But not recorded. No, everything recorded is being used. There's 12 tracks on the album, one bonus track. So What, a song that I did on my We Are the Ones record, which was really just a very, very sparse song with an acoustic guitar and just no drums and everything. Mm-hmm. And Jamie literally took the vocal track and made it metallicized it. Mm-hmm. So it's a bonus track. I don't know where. I know Japan's getting the bonus track. I know it'll be available to certain pre-orders and stuff, but we only recorded 13 songs. They're all being used in one way or another, and I never even heard the other songs. I wasn't involved in the choosing process. I honestly would have been confused by it. Just having all that material and trying to decide what is the right fit. I guess, so Jamie, while touring, while recording his own stuff, while doing everything else, sorted through, and sometimes a lot of things were, saying, whoa, I really love, this is a great riff. We can build on this. And working with multiple songwriters and creating the song out of, one person would send one thing, another person would send another thing. So I don't even know the full process. I just know that when Jamie brought me a song, I said there was one that he said this wasn't feeling. Right. It was one, and so I guess 14 songs. One, I just we really need 14 songs. This one's really not killing me, and but everything else, I was just yeah, so fucking cool.
Excuse me. Do you have enough? Is there material left over that you might want to record in the future?
Well, Napalm signed a 2-album deal, and they've already made it very clear they want the second album. They just, even without seeing the response, just hearing it, they were just like, "We want a second album." They said, "We're not saying you have to start doing it now, and we have no intention to get anywhere near a studio. We've got a lot of work to do with this record and getting the music out there and supporting the music. We want the album to have a chance to connect with people. But we in our minds know that this is not the last Dee Snider metal record. It will be For the Love of Metal 2. So I think maybe we'll call it that. And does Jamie? You'd have to ask Jasta if he said this will be good for a set. This is the way he thinks, though. I'll bet anything. If I was to call him now and said, "Hey man, all that music you were getting, did you save some things for the next record?" I guarantee he would say, "Yep." I guarantee, because he's just that. He's so methodical, and not in a commercial way or in a corrupt way, but in a real, with the love of the music, which is this would be great for the next one. We'll set it up with this one, and then the second album, this would be a great song for the second album. So I know he thinks that way, so I'm sure that he's got some things already that he's planning.
All right. So this album was basically a huge collaboration between you and Jamie and all sorts of other people. Is there anyone left in the music industry that you haven't collaborated with that you would still like to?
Well, I would love to get the call from Angus Young. I know he's got his heart set on Axl Rose, but I think I could deliver. I've done some weird collaborations too. I've collaborated with beyond the rock people. I've collaborated with Patti LuPone and BB Newirth and Clay on Broadway. On my Broadway record, Clay Aiken. I duetted with Clay Aiken. So I've done some. Yeah, so I've done a wide range of collaborations, and look, there's always people. There's always your heroes. I've sang with Alice Cooper, but Robert Plant's another hero. Would I like to do something out with Robert? Well, if he asked me, hell yeah. But that's the thing. This falls into the category of challenges and things that make you want to get up and move forward.
Right.
The track you've heard, "Tomorrow's No Concern." I'm guessing you heard that one.
Yes.
Well, that song is literally about my philosophy. Jamie did we hung out a lot and we talked a lot, and he, came to really know me. And I said, one of the things I said to him, I said, I'd rather show you what I'm working on today than talk to you about something I did decades ago. It's not that I'm not happy with what I did decades ago. It's not that I'm not proud of it, but it's decades ago. And I'm always moving forward. I'm always looking for new, exciting things. So that's what moves me. So if you say, who would you like to collaborate with? Anybody that would make me feel like, yeah, well, if it would make me feel like I was challenged, I guess if Pavarotti called up and said, hey, I'd like you to sing with me on a track, I go, that would be interesting. I accept that challenge. Let's go in there and roar.
Awesome. Just to touch on something that's been in the news lately, former Twisted Sister guitarist JJ French has been stirring up some controversy recently regarding his thoughts on legacy bands continuing to perform quote-unquote past their prime. And I was just wondering what your thoughts were on that.
Oh, me and JJ see eye to eye on that 100%. And JJ's getting a lot of flack because they took a lot of what he said out of context. And I first of all, I know JJ, and obviously, and I also listened to the tape and he was being comedic when he said, Rob Halford's like 90 years old, the Stones, whatever he said, the Stones are 100. Obviously, they're not.
Right.
It was one of those comedic, gross exaggerations, like, oh my God, Jagger looks like a cadaver up there. It's just like he's a comedic. He's a New Yorker, and we're very sarcastic, and we make fun of everybody. I was just watching comedians in cars getting coffee, and Jerry Seinfeld was talking about this. Why are so many comedians out of the Northeast so there's the funniest people? As if you just grow up with this degree of sarcasm in the Philly area, New York area, Boston area. It just permeates being mocked and ridiculed. You just grow up with that sort of that sensibility. But anyways, I agree that people should know when to leave. And they should, now but then again, the other side of me says, but that's not my decision to make. Alice Cooper told me he can't wait to sing I'm 80. He said, I can't wait to sing I'm 80. He says, he said to me literally, I said, dude, when are you retiring? He goes, well, Jagger's 4 years older than me. So when Jagger retires, I've got 4 more years. That's what he said. So, I said, God love you. If that's what you want to do, if that makes you happy, God love you. But I do think, like JJ, that sometimes seeing your heroes in shambles, so to speak, shadows of their former selves, it just sort of makes you feel old and sad. But that's, that's why I don't go to those reunion shows.
Right. Sort of along the same lines, a lot of musicians have been speaking out about the general subject, including the likes of Bruce Dickinson, who was quoted as saying that he didn't like looking out into an audience and seeing people in his own age bracket. What are your thoughts on that?
Well, it reflects back on you. It makes you can kid yourself, and I've seen people in the front row with oxygen tanks at my show. So it doesn't really make you feel like
you have seen
you're
that?
up there. Oh, I have.
Wow.
And God love them. God love them for rock. Wanting to rock, still wanting to rock, and not letting age or infirmity stop them. I applaud them. I don't mock them, but at the same time, when rock and roll keeps a lot of us young beyond our years. Yeah, and Bruce is one of those guys, and I'm one of those guys. And, you know, it kind of like just reflects back on you that, you know, just in case you were kidding yourself, you're not 20. You know,
Right.
you're not 20. So, so yeah, and plus it just, when you see the younger fans, and I say that my audiences are like half younger fans, it says what I'm doing still matters.
Right.
You know, when it's just a sea of elderly people, it's saying what I'm doing mattered, past
Right.
tense.
Okay.
But so I understand, you know, that feeling. But, you know, I don't know if I would never ever. I don't know if Bruce discouraged older fans from showing up by saying that. I would say, hell, I would say, are you fucking kidding me? Get your ass out of the damn house and rock. You know what I mean? You know, Rob Halford put it the best. Rob Halford said, he said, there's a saying, once a Marine, always a Marine. He goes, it applies to heavy metal fans. Once a headbanger, always a headbanger. It's always in you. You always just have that feeling. And he's right. Whether you're a performer or you're a listener, it's in you. You know, so you should never surrender that love.
Is there anything that you think that would help in having these legacy bands establish a younger fan base?
Helping these legacy bands have a younger fan base. You know, I am no one to advise anything. I have no advice. I have no recommendations. You know, I mean, if I have any, you know, a broader appeal, it's by accident. It wasn't by design, so I can't claim somewhere. You know, well, let me tell you how it's done. No, I wouldn't dare. I wouldn't dare. And the fact that I'm doing a contemporary metal record, you know, it still remains to be seen if a younger audience is going to appreciate me, accept me, and welcome me. So I say the verdict's way too out. And if this does work, then my advice would be have Jamie Josta produce your record.
Cool. Well, I want to close out with you've talked a lot about the contemporary metal scene right now. Are there any bands that you're particularly listening to right now?
You know, well, yeah, my favorite band right now is a band called Monster Truck.
Oh, I know of them.
Oh, it's great. And coincidentally, they just released a single featuring me on it. I don't know if you know.
Oh, no, I didn't know that.
Called True. It's the title track for the new album, True Rocker. It's called True Rocker, and I discovered the band when I was doing my musical, Rock and Roll Christmas Tale, in Toronto, and fell in love with them and became a huge fan, and then became friends with the band. And they asked me to do a sermon on this song called True Rocker. They said, Dee, there's no truer rocker than you, and it would be amazing. We have this breakdown if you would just preach, you know. And so you can hear it. You can hear it online now. And so they are my particular favorite. And you know, and yeah, they really pull from the older style of rock. And certainly, it's you know, I recommend them to older rock fans as well. There's no good new music, and yeah, look for Rival Sons, look for Monster Truck. They are great bands. You know, look for Volbeat. You know, Volbeat has so many interesting influences, and so there's a lot of bands out there that are great.